Chicago Tax Twitter Retreat 2024. My name is Logan Graf, and while I was at the Tax Twitter Retreat, I got to talk to different firm owners and ask them similar questions that I asked other firm owners before I went out and launched my firm 4 years ago.
Mike Sylvester, man.
Nancy McClelland, although most people call me the dancing accountant.
Catherine Drake Madeley.
I'm Andrea McDonald.
Alex Rentberg.
Aaron Dickerson.
Taxes, bookkeeping, payroll, and some business consulting of various types.
We are a firm of 9 of us. I'm the only full-time person. We do bookkeeping, accounting, tax, and advisory. We only do those things for our bookkeeping clients. So we don't take tax clients off the street or advisory or anything like that. So we do the whole arc, and we've been doing that for the past 23 years. Actually, we just celebrated.
I offer primarily tax preparation, planning for small businesses, individuals, your small partnerships, S corporations and such.
We offer all the normal CAS services, so bookkeeping, taxes, advisory, nothing sexy.
So we provide full service. So we work with both individuals and businesses, providing tax planning, strategy, and accounting. We also do bookkeeping and then also operational support as well.
I'm solopreneur right now. I started full-time back in November. I had clients on the side, mostly tax work right now. I do some ongoing CAS work and then some accounting cleanup as well for new clients as they come on. I actually enjoy that work because I used to do a lot of audit, and so it lets me like channel that background. So.
That's ironic. When I went to college, my plan was to become a CPA, work for Carina for a couple years, and then leave and be like a manager of like a steel mill, like in charge of everything. Because I figured, who is a journeyman electrician, has carried tools for 19 years, went back to college and became a CPA? It's a strange...
No one has done that.
So my goal was to like be the manager, in charge of like a big steel mill. But I really liked working with Carina. I thought it was lower stress, and I stayed. And the money is good in our field.
Yeah.
You can make good money, right?
Yes,
So I really like it.
I hadn't intended to go out and hang my own shingle, right? Like that wasn't what I was doing. I was just temping, as I explained. But I ended up at this firm where I immediately saw like AR was messed up, their processes were messed up. I mean, they were a mess in like so many ways. They were using Great Plains Dynamics, and oh gosh, Great Plains Dynamics. I think I'm aging myself. I think they call it's Microsoft Dynamics GP now, is what it's called. They bought it, but at the time it was independent. And I had experience with that, which is why they hired me in particular. And so I was just like, wow, you don't want me as a temp doing this stuff. You want me as a consultant, and I would like to be paid like a consultant. And so I actually asked their external CPA firm that was actually doing their tax return. They actually hired out for an audit each year also. They weren't required to do that, but that was something they wanted to do. So the firm that was doing the audit and the tax return, their like partner and I talked about it, and I was just like, this is what these people need. I'm the person to do it. And he was like, make sure you at least ask for this many dollars. And they ended up being my first client, and I was there like 3 days a week for years. And then as I was doing that, other people would ask me like, can you do my tax return? Can you be that? And be like, yeah, I'd be happy to do this. So it just snowballed. I mean, it was really organic growth. And by the time I was ready to leave there, I had so many other clients that were specifically small businesses in my little neighborhood in Chicago that we also accidentally niched early on, a geographical niche.
I actually didn't start my own firm. I became a partner in a small regional or small tax firm in Austin, and my other partners retired. So I was someone's retirement plan. It was what I was told when I became partner. And that is how I grew into being a firm owner, and I inherited a lot of old practices old ways, and I'm in the process of trying to right the ship.
So what influenced you to want to buy into the partnership?
I really liked the people I was working with, and I really loved the clients we were working with. I really liked helping people. I like helping people, and I feel like I'm filling a need and really making people's lives better, helping them understand their tax situation, and not just the short term. Like, I don't want to look at tax planning as how do we save taxes today. I want to help people figure out, yes, we want to save taxes today, but we also have short, medium, and long-term goals, and how do we balance those three things? Because it's not always about saving the dollar today. Sometimes it's spending the dollar today to have $10 in 5 years.
So I know a lot of people say they started their firms to help people, and of course that is one of the components, but really I just wanted to start a business. And so when I started thinking about what do I know how to do, what might I be good at, what do I have the capacity to start, I was a single mom with 2 kids and working a full-time job, so I landed on bookkeeping and tax, and here we are. That was 2013, now it's 2024, and still going.
I have always worked within tax my entire career. Worked always within large operational firms, but always had friends who would reach out to me and be like, hey, can you give me some advice, some help? And it was always more rewarding and more productive on my end to be able to work with smaller companies, smaller individuals, as opposed to multinational Fortune 100 companies. So I decided to focus on the small and middle market, and that was the way to do it.
So before I moved to Austin, I was still in public accounting. The firm I was at was very small. They opened in the 1920s in like a Rust Belt town in Ohio, and I was tired of the old school methods of passing around paper tax files, and I tried to make efforts to change things, but it was way too slow, and I got fed up with it.
It is having a workforce that has been with me, everybody, for at least 4 years. I don't have any turnover. I just hired a person. I'm overstaffed today. I have 2 people who've reached out to me from a top 50 firm who want to switch.
Wow.
And I'm deciding when I could maybe add another whole person. It's a pretty good opportunity for us, and it's pretty rare in our profession.
Yeah, so people are seeking out to work with you?
They are.
That's awesome.
And one comes from social media, and they're a tax manager at a top 50 firm.
Wow.
And they just suggested to one of their seniors that they should reach out to me.
Wow.
Because the person wants to work less. And my philosophy is my employees don't work more than about 1,900 hours a year. And I pay them $10,000 more than the competition because I don't think people understand how hard it is to train new people or pay a headhunter to get them.
Right.
So I pay them more upfront in an effort to keep them.
I love helping people. I love making a difference in the world. And when I first started working with small businesses, it was really about, I truly believe, and this is on our website, like it's one of our company values, I truly believe that small businesses are the lifeblood of our communities. Like the way that our communities stay vibrant is by keeping small business owners healthy, right? And so that was the mission of our firm for a really long time. And we made such a big difference in the lives of all these small business owners. Some of them have been clients of mine for like 20 years. However, then as my company grew and we started hiring people one by one, people were coming from like really horrible experiences at other accounting firms. And I was like, well, I don't want that. And so then we focused on creating a culture of caring in our firm. And it made a really big difference in the lives of all of our team members. And now I'm switching to doing more, they're pretty much running the company now, and I'm switching to doing more education for bookkeepers who want to learn about how to level up their bookkeeping by learning about tax and what can they ask a CPA. And so now I'm making a difference in like all of their lives. And I don't know if that's ego, I just like love being this person who's making a difference, or if it's just like, wow, like, look what we accomplished. And that's unquestionably the best part.
I really love helping my clients to accomplish their goals and help them understand their finances. Gosh, there's so many good things about running a firm. It's hard to pick a best. I love being challenged. I love constantly learning. That's one of the reasons I like tax specifically, and not as much the bookkeeping accounting side, although those are constantly changing and constantly learning. But I really like that, the intricacies of tax and how I can utilize them to help my clients. I love mentoring my staff. I love bringing in the fresh college grad or the interns and helping them, giving them that taste of what a small firm is like. And I want them to, especially the interns, I want them to have that exposure, but I also encourage them to go spend a summer working in industry or in government to get that variety. But I'm giving them a taste of what a small tax shop would look like.
I love that.
I love the flexibility. I'm just getting to the point where I actually have flexibility to be away and to be at things like this, followed immediately by Bridging the Gap. So it's been a long time to get here, but I like not having one boss with set PTO and have to have anxiety over needing to be away for a day or do something with my kids. It's probably my favorite part, so the flexibility.
Best thing has to be flexibility. Being a parent of 2 small kids, being able to help out with the kids, whether it's early in the morning, late in the afternoon, whatever it is, being able to attend school functions with the kids and not having to miss out on that, I think has to be one of the greatest things so far out of the practice.
The freedom, the flexibility, being able to go to these conferences and not needing permission from anybody, choosing the clients I want to work with, choosing the type of work I want to take. So, yeah, the flexibility. The employee-boss relationship did not work well for me. So, being on my own allows me to get away from that.
Yeah. How do you like your boss?
But what's that?
How do you like your boss?
Oh, my boss is awesome. Yeah. Most of the time.
Well, we have 3 partners, and I, of course, think we should do everything my way.
Yeah.
And one of my partners is my wife. So sometimes maybe we just have to get on the same page, but they also tone me down when I'm kind of trying to push too far.
I think probably the hardest part is that you never turn off.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing things like attending tax Twitter, like we are here, or Bridging the Gap, or places where you can learn tactics for running a more sustainable firm. At the end of the day, I am the dancing accountant, even though it's the firm. And my brain never turns off, right? Like it never stops working on it. Even on a day where, maybe I'm on vacation, maybe I'm just like trying to chill, maybe I'm doing a dance performance or whatever. There's always that part of me that's like text, email. I know you can even turn off those notifications, but you cannot turn off your brain.
Oh, for sure, technology. For me, I am not a tech. I mean, I'm not tech savvy, but I get distracted by shiny objects, and there's always a new thing coming out, and there's so many choices. I have attention, like I can't. There's 27 portals out there. Which one is the right one for me? And figuring out that and navigating that is really, really hard.
Every day is the hardest part. People management, I didn't learn how to manage people like most firm owners, so that does not come naturally to me. That is incredibly difficult. Yeah, that's probably the hardest part, is just making sure that I can find ways to keep the team feeling engaged. I might think I'm doing a good job and they might not. So managing people, managing employee engagement, maintaining culture, it's a lot of work, especially with a virtual firm.
Yeah.
It's a bigger challenge than I anticipated.
How big is your team?
We have 12, including me.
Okay.
And we're spread out over 5 states, so we only get together in person once a year. So it's kind of hard to keep that together feeling.
Hardest thing has to be hiring. Hiring staff to work in the firm has been the most challenging item. Even though we're a fully remote firm, finding the appropriate staff is the most challenging thing.
saying no, probably. I still make this mistake even after, you know, being part of Tax Twitter and the other communities like Realize and such. Like everybody, you know, gives this tip, like make sure you say no or you vet your clients. You know, I talked about that yesterday. You still make those mistakes, especially as a new firm owner, when you're like, hey, I need new clients and like I'm building my firm because you want those clients. So just saying no and setting those boundaries, I think, is the hardest part for me.
I think you have to look at what you want now, how much money and how much do you need to take care of your family. I think you need to think about your own mental health and what you want to work. And if you want to work at a firm and have employees, take care of them. All right? That's my biggest thing. I take care of my employees, they take care of me. Right? We add a new benefit every year, and I think you just have to think we're a team, right? You don't need to make more than I like to make money.
Yeah.
I like to spend money. I make enough. I'm happy to share with my employees. And I think that's important if you want to grow.
Find a community, because it is so lonely. It is so isolating. And when I talk to the bookkeepers in my Ask a CPA subscription, or I'm giving a talk at, you know, one of the conferences or whatever, or here at Tax Twitter Retreat, like, it is so isolating, and I felt so alone for so many years. I was sure I was the only person that was making a mess of everything and not getting the technology right and not being able to figure out how to make operations work. I'm a wonderful tax preparer, but I am a terrible operations manager. I'm awful at it, right? I felt so alone, and it wasn't until I joined my first community, which was Bookkeeping Buds, and then later on I joined Realize. I'm a member of this Tax Twitter community, right? And my colleagues now at all of the different conferences where I go to, you know, we see each other and it's like summer camp where you run up and you hug each other. I remember I hugged you and you were like, hi, I'm Logan. And I was like, I know you. We've like known each other for a while, but we had never met in person. You're not alone. You're not alone. You are not the only person who's making mistakes. You are not the only person who's screwing up. You're not the only person who has imposter syndrome. We together are all trying to figure this out, and if you can connect with somebody who's already figured out that part of it, and then you can help them figure out this other part of it, right? Like, even just knowing you're not alone is huge, and then actually getting the answers for some of these questions. You're not alone. You're not alone. It's not just you.
Rely on experts. That's what I've really learned in this process, is that we are generally type A personalities, and we think we should be able to do it all on our own and figure it all out on our own, but we can't. It's the breadth of information that we have to parse, technology, having your written security information plan, like you're having your WISP and having, you know, getting the clients and doing the marketing and setting up your website and understanding the regulations and navigating all of the rules for, you know, meeting your board requirements. It's all hard. Writing your partnership agreement or your company agreement, go to a lawyer. Figuring out your data security, rely on an IT company. You know, it's finding, like as we were talking about yesterday, finding that network of people that you can rely on, refer clients to. You can't be the expert in everything, and having a good team and partnerships is really valuable.
Get your pricing right. Do not undervalue yourself. I did it for many, many, many years. It took me probably 9 years to really start to get my pricing right. So the first 8 years were some pretty lean years. In the 4 years since then, 4-ish or 3 or 4 years since then, I've not only been able to pay myself consistently, I've been able to acquire another firm. So all because I got my pricing right. So get your pricing right, everything else is fixable.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know,
Yes.
you're out there evangelizing that.
Raise your rates.
Yeah, raise your rates. Now, do it. Whatever you think you can do it, add 20%.
Just start. Just take that first step. There's going to be fear, but don't be afraid of it. I think it's the get started, get that first 1 or 2 clients going, and then just slowly take it from there. And then also it's seeing and reviewing all of the content and recommendations people have out there. The big thing to remember is that not all advice is going to work for you. Your clients are going to be different, your experience is different, and whatever it is that you're doing has to apply to what you're trying to accomplish. Not everybody's trying to make the next big 4 massive firm. Some people just want a lifestyle firm, make 200 grand, 100 grand, whatever that number is. So do and scale to the size that you want.
Take advantage of the communities like Tax Twitter and Realize and Roundtable Labs, and I'm not part of all of these, but and then same, reviewing content, like you're putting out YouTube content. Jason is out there. I think Jason is kind of how I got started. I found his YouTube videos, and that led me down the path into all of these other communities. For example, like this past year when I went solo, you had done a YouTube live, I think, on like your ignition setup and your pricing, and like that helped me like really succeed this past tax season with that. Like saved me a lot of time billing up front, all of that. And if it wouldn't have been for that content that I consumed in the communities that I was in, like I wouldn't have been doing any of that. I would have been chasing AR. I would have not have been billing as much for my services. So just don't recreate the wheel. Join the communities, take advantage of that.
Yeah, great.
I went back to college full-time in 2004. So I went back to college full-time when I was 37 years old. I went to community college first, before then, and then I went to Indiana University, and I got another degree. I have several different degrees in different things, but I got my accounting degree when I was 39.
Okay, wow. And is that when you joined Carina too?
That is, I joined Carina when I graduated. Well, I worked for her part-time, then I graduated college and worked for her full-time, and then I got my CPA exactly when I had 24 months of experience.
Yeah.
Then we became partners, and and that doesn't happen everywhere, but we're married, and it had to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great question. I think I was 28 years old. I can't do math in my head because I'm an accountant and we use spreadsheets for everything. Yeah, it's totally true. So I was 28. I was actually, I had been this senior accountant at a nonprofit, and my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had gotten engaged to be married, and life was like really stressful, and I hated my boss there. So I left, and I thought, I'm just gonna temp while I'm planning my wedding. Well, the first temp gig I got, I ended up being their fractional CFO. And so I was like, well, I guess I run my own company now. It was totally an accident. I had no intention of starting my own business.
So this is a second career for me. I decorated houses for about 10 years prior to going back to school and getting my accounting degree and becoming a CPA. If you want the backstory on that?
Sure.
Like I was literally riding my bike to work one day and I got T-boned by an F-250, and I realized that I wasn't being fulfilled in what I was doing. What I was doing was just making rich women happy, and that didn't feed my soul, and I wanted to make a difference in the world. And I looked at my skill set, what I was good at, and accounting seemed like a great fit to be able to really help people and give me the flexibility and lifestyle and independence and freedom to run my life the way I wanted it. So I don't know that answered your direct question, but okay, so it was a second career. I went back to school at 30 and bought into my partnership at 37 and became a full owner at, got to do math backwards. I don't want to tell y'all how old I am.
You don't have to age yourself. That wasn't the purpose of this question.
But yeah, second career. So I was a I worked in the firm for 5 years before buying in.
I was 35.
Cool.
I have a very non-traditional path to CPA. I've never worked in an accounting firm, so it was a very backwards, roundabout way to get where I am.
Yeah.
I didn't get my CPA license until I was 40, so just completely backwards, bejiggled.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you started your firm before you had a CPA?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
that's cool.
I started my firm and took it full time at 32.
Started taking clients on my own at about 25 probably, and now when I went out full time I was 27.
Thank you so much for watching. If you are wanting to launch your own firm or have recently done so, sign up on my community interest forum to join a community for those that want help running their firm. Thanks. Tell us a little bit about what you did before you started your own firm.
So I spent 6 years on a nuclear submarine. I was a reactor operator. You ever watch Homer Simpson?
Yes.
Homer Simpson played with the control rods. I played with the control rods, right? Just in the Navy. Then I got out and I worked at a civilian nuclear reactor. The dumbest thing that civilian nuclear reactors do, and it is the dumbest thing, is they train a person like me to operate a crane, and we move the irradiated fuel rods in a pool that's reinforced. Okay, that's dumb. Then I worked at a steel mill. Then I was the automation technician for a Pepsi plant, and then I was the maintenance and purchasing manager at a factory.
Being a CPA firm owner is like your fourth career, would you say?
At least.
Okay. How old were you when you started your firm?
My wife started the firm in 2001, 4 months after our daughter was born, and I was her first employee.
Okay.
And there might be bad memories from a few days there where she's like, "You don't reconcile cash that way." I'm like, "We came within $80, leave me alone." "No, you have to do it this way." But we got through it.
That's awesome.
And then our current third partner was our third employee of the firm.
Wow.
So I hired my buddy from college. He graduated first in the class, I was second. He was in the Army, I was in the Navy.
Okay.
The Navy's way better than the Army. We all know that, and so does he. And he basically went to work for Ernst & Young after college. We built our own commercial building. We had 7 offices, and it was just Karina and I.
Yeah.
And we hired him from Ernst & Young.
Wow. Y'all must be good bosses.
I said, "Hey, how much do you make at Ernst & Young?" He gave me, "Here's my benefits." I said, "I'll beat this by 10,000, and I will limit your hours to 1,950 a year." The rest is history.
Wow. That's awesome.